Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are you, Hal?
I'm feeling great.
Pretty day, isn't it?
It is gorgeous here in Camarillo Springs.
It's a beautiful day.
We've lived here for over 20 years and the weather has always been wonderful.
It's perfect. We lived here a little over that length of time as well. But you live out here at Camarillo Springs?
Yes,
And you've been here a little over 20 years?
20 years.
I just spoke earlier to John Gardner, who's a member of the advisory committee of the group, the homeowners group that's doing their best to help with the redevelopment project here. You're one of the first people that got involved. How did that come about?
Well, I had been part of the group that here in Camarillo that supported the SOAR initiative. It was a small group of people that worked hard to get the vote to protect the agricultural lands here in not only Camarillo, but Ventura County. And one or two people on that committee heard about this golf course, and one of them said, Al, you got to get things going. So I had communication with Ron Kester and others here in our community, but also people in the surrounding communities here in Camarillo Springs, and was able to bring people, leaders from each of the communities to a meeting with Ron Kester to start the advisory group. We also had one or two people from the city of Camarillo residents who were activists here in Camarillo. And that's really how we started 3 years ago.
That's a great grassroots beginning. That's wonderful. Has it gone pretty well so far?
It is a wonderful experience, at least for me, because I got to see community people working with the developer, New Urban West. And the combination of great people here in the Springs and wonderful process thinking, bright people from New Urban West, we were able to get a lot done.
That's good to hear. It's my understanding that New Urban West, along with you all, brought in other people, architects and engineers and planners and folks that had experience in the other areas of community development to put together plans to further the effort. But what do you know about those plans, and what do you think about the plans going forward?
Well, I was extremely surprised to see how New Urban West and their planners, who covered lots of areas that are affected by development, come up with a plan based on lots of thinking of the residents here in Camarillo Springs. And I'm talking about not just one area of Camarillo Springs, but all the areas of Camarillo Springs.
That's good to hear, because the truth of the matter is that thinking wouldn't have happened if it hadn't been for your input that you gave to the developer. That's why that relationship is so important, that communication.
It wasn't just my input. I'm a strong believer in involving people, and not because of me, but because of the leadership of Ron Kester and others. We were able to listen and follow through with New Urban West a dynamic plan for this community.
It truly was a team effort, and I for one think it's turned out to be a pretty good plan. I understand there's been some opposition, and it's come from the community. What do you think of the community or the opposition's efforts, what their stance is? Is there anything that we can say to them or communicate to them that might alleviate their concerns?
I think the first thing, based on my experience in my profession, is one has to listen and respect the opposition views. And maybe there's a good point that they're expressing. And this committee, the advisory committee, did listen and passed on information to New Urban West. And as I said earlier, the end result is a quality plan for this community, but listen to the opposition. There were times when I thought the opposition didn't get their facts, that they weren't reading the information or weren't coming to several meetings. I call them town halls, where people got to express themselves
Yes.
with experts, and the experts presented good quality information. But we do have to listen to the opposition.
I would agree with that. I would agree with that completely. To me, this has been a real successful effort. I've been involved for almost 3 years, as you know, and I've been very, very respectful, understanding the work you guys have done, and I think it's resulted in a pretty good plan going forward.
We talk about Camarillo Springs, the beauty of it, the nature. It's just such a wonderful place. But what really makes it wonderful are the people, that live here. They're extraordinary in terms of listening and responding and getting involved. Vast majority of people here in Camarillo Springs support this project, not because they're listening to one or two leaders, but because they have really gotten involved in the decision-making recommendation process.
You know, that is so true, the value of people. Being from the club business, the definition of a club in many cases, it says a group of people that come together under a common bond and purpose. And it looks like that's happening here. That's a good thing. Thank you, Hal. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I have enjoyed working with you. It's been fun. And I agree with you. We have to listen to the people. Period.
But what really makes it wonderful are the people, that live here. They're extraordinary in terms of listening and responding and getting involved. Vast majority of people here in Camarillo Springs support this project, not because they're listening to one or two leaders, but because they have really gotten involved in the decision-making recommendation process.